solve graph and give the interval notation for this absolute value inequality. So first off, before we can split this thing up into two inequalities, or in this case, well, it might be two inequalities, I'm not sure yet, but we have to get the inequality or the absolute value by itself, then we can break it up. So first off, I need to subtract 4. So we're going to get negative 6 minus 3x less than or equal to negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9. Then I can divide by negative 6. I'm dividing by a negative, so I need to flip the inequality. That's going to give me negative 6 minus 3x is greater than or equal to negative by negative is positive, and 9 over 6 reduces to 3 over 2. Okay, so this will break up into two inequalities because we have greater than. The distance is greater than a number, and that means we're on like the outside of a bounded region. We're not bounded. That'd be less than a number. In this case, we're greater than, so we're kind of outside this bounded region. So we're going to expect two inequalities from this. The first one's going to be the exact same thing without the absolute value bars. So we're going to write negative 6 minus 3x greater than or equal to 3 halves. And then the next one's going to be the same thing inside the absolute value, and flip the inequality and flip the sign. Okay, now we can solve each one of these for x. So add 6, because we're adding a fraction, adding to a fraction. I'm going to write this as 6 over 1. I need common denominators, so I'm going to multiply it by 2 because that gives me common denominators. The same thing is true for this one. So we're going to get negative 3x greater than or equal to. This is going to be 3 halves plus 12 halves. 3 plus 12 is 15 halves. And on this one, we're going to get negative 3x less than or equal to negative 3 halves plus 12 halves. So minus 3 plus 12, so 9 halves. Okay, now we can divide by negative 3. This is actually the same thing as, and it's probably better to think of it this way, multiplying by negative 1/3 to both sides. Negative 1/3, because now you can see that we can cross cancel 15 and 3. The same thing is true here. We can cross cancel the 9s. So we're going to get just x on this side. We multiplied by a negative in this case, or divided by a negative, same thing. We're going to flip the inequality. And this is going to become negative. This is going to become reduced down to 5. So it's going to be negative 5 over 2. And this one, again, we're canceling everything here, so we're going to get x, but we're multiplying by a negative, so we're going to flip the inequality. This is going to become negative. The 3 and the 9 are going to reduce, making this 3 over 2. I mean, negative 3 over 2. Okay, so let's graph this and see what we get. Now, I forgot to write the word here. It's going to be either and or. In this case, because we're greater than or equal to, that means we're looking at an or inequality. So this is an or, and this is an or. That's because we're having two separated regions. If they were bounded inside a bounded region, if it was less than a positive number, then that means this would be an and inequality system that we have to solve. But okay, let's graph this and see what we have. So we have x is less than or equal to negative 5 halves. Negative 5 halves is the smaller one. So I'll write that down here. And then negative 3 halves is the bigger one. Okay, x is less than or equal to negative 5 halves. Less than or equal to, meaning we're going to go to the left of this. That's all less than numbers. Equal to means we're going to use a bracket. Go that way. And then greater than or equal to means we're going to use a bracket. And greater than numbers are to the right. And so we're going to go this way. This is an or inequality, so we're going to have to union these two things together into one answer. Okay, this interval, the smallest number here, right, it points down to negative infinity, so that's going to be the smallest number. The largest number in this interval is right here at -5/2. Infinity gets a parenthesis. 5/2 gets a bracket. And this one, the smallest number here is -3/2. That gets a bracket, and then it goes on up to positive infinity. So infinity, and that always gets a parenthesis. And we have to union these two things together. And there's my answer.